Hey traders, Joseph here from Eightcap. Today we're going to just look at a couple of markets and just want to go over some of the price action that we're just watching at the moment. Now I just want to start off. It's been a pretty hard week this week. We've had some pretty choppy London sessions through to New York, and example of this is right here, and this is trading isn't always easy. And sometimes it's a lot more difficult than other times. So when you really have periods of very low momentum, which we've had so far this week, really after we had a good start to the week on the Aussie, we had a nice rally up. But since then, we've really had some pretty hard days to try and work out direction, because there hasn't been really any direction. Now this is mainly on the Aussie. The Euro did have a little bit more push lower yesterday, and so did the pound, but what we're talking about right here is just an example of yesterday, where we did have some indication that possibly buyers were looking to push the start the market higher with a couple higher lows. We had a break above yesterday's open, but it was quickly stepped on and pushed down. And even if you did start looking to sell on the break of that low or the break here, you really just didn't have much movement. And today's another sort of 50-50 right now. So the key right now for the Aussie is just to see what happens around 68.40. If we do see a move higher from that level, or if we do see a break below it. But right now I'd be saying maybe don't be in the market at this current time until we see some direction on the Aussie, because it really is consolidating. And if you are trying to buy above certain points or sell below certain points, you are getting caught. So just keep that in mind, and just keep a bit of an eye on that we do want to see a little bit of direction on the Aussie. So the basic pattern on the moment at the Aussie is we have a bit of a descending triangle consolidation pattern, and again we just want to see how things work and hold or break around 0.6840, which is the base of that pattern. So we will see what happens into tonight's London session if we do get a bit of direction on the Aussie. Now, it's quickly going over to the Euro. We did see that a bit more of a push lower yesterday, but we did have that rally yesterday as well that sort of indicated there was a little bit of buying strength, but that evaporated pretty quickly and we saw that decline. The pound was hit pretty hard. Now that was mainly due to some of the comments coming out of the Bank of England. It was interesting because they held rates, which is expected, and they ruled out, well, there was talk that they've ruled out a return to negative interest rates, but that didn't really have a positive effect on the pound, as it did end up declining pretty strongly by over 100 pips. So at the moment, we do see a decent trend break and of that fast trend here. So we will just want to see if that does continue, what happens with today's rally, if we do see more of a push up, or if we do see a fade and then a continue lower. And we also have this longer term trend line now that's also under pressure. So at the moment right now, it's a, I hate saying 50-50, but we need a little bit more information from buyers and sellers to see what the next move down is. And if we do see another leg down, we would be looking for a counter rally to sort of fade to suggest that there is a new medium-term downtrend underway. Now, just finally, we're going to just touch on gold and oil. And gold so far is having a bullish day so far. We are seeing buyers up and about, and we're seeing a gain of nearly 0.5%, and price is above 1727.50 at the moment, just below it right now. So again, gold's also quite choppy at the moment, and we do have a bit of a pattern here where we do the lines here. We do have a bit of a consolidation pattern at the moment, and we want to see what happens here going forward if we do see a breakout to the higher breakout, or if we do see another stall in the lower breakout. Right now there's not much momentum. The moving average is pretty flat. We don't see much steepness in its angle at the moment, but for now buyers are in control, and we'll just have to see tonight if they can maintain control. There's a heap of supply from really from where it's tested so far today at 1728.50 all the way up to 1733.50, and then again we have some more longer term resistance at the top of what is a bit of a range at 1738.95 to 1739. So there's a little bit of work for buyers to do if they really want to break out of what's been a pretty long consolidation here. Now oil is looking a little bit cleaner. We did have a nice rally yesterday after a day of indecision, and price did end up finishing yesterday's session with a around roughly a 3.5% gain. We are sitting at the top of a resistance level now, but it is bullish still, and we do have some pretty good looking momentum. We are seeing a bit of a overbought now on the Williams, so that doesn't necessarily mean it's going to turn, but it can suggest that if it does continue to make gains, that they may be capped. So do keep an eye on that. Even if it does start to decline, though, we can see here it doesn't mean it's going to turn around straight away, but on other instances when it does, we do see a pullback. So it's more of a guide just to suggest that it is overly bullish at this point in time. So the next real test for buyers right now is to break and clear above that 39.50 point, which is just above here, and then if they are able to clear that, the next big test will be that high that was put back on the 8th of the 6th, and that is the $40.60 point, and a break above that does suggest that we do have a trend resumption underway. So after we formed that new higher low earlier in the week. So that's it for today's report. We hope you have had a lovely trading week and haven't been shredded too hard in some of the choppiness that we have seen in some of the pairs, and have a fantastic trading session this evening, and until next week, have a great weekend and bye for now.